Hey Gravel City Adventure and Supply followers, it's Matt down here at Gravel City. We are now in November, and one conversation we seem to be having a lot more in the bike shop this time of year is talking about how do you dress to ride in the cold weather, and the key to that is layering. So when we talk about layering, what I'm going to talk about is going beyond our normal jersey and bibs that we're all kind of accustomed to wearing around here as we're riding our bikes. So the first thing I want us to think about is head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So when we're starting at our head, obviously we've got our helmet on, but my first recommendation is going to be a 45 North wool hat. This hat has lasted me 5 or 6 years so far and absolutely is wonderful. It's got the long ear covers and comes down on the back of the neck, always keeps my head warm, and I will say being wool, it really kind of balances out the temperature. Even up into 60 degrees, I've worn it when the days have warmed up some. And that's the key with layering, is remembering, you know, we might start at 30 degrees in the morning, but what does it get to come mid-afternoon on these longer rides? So my next thing is moving down from the head is a buff. During the pandemic eras, I'm sure we all got these at races, events, or whatnot, but a nice buff goes a long ways. They're so multi-purpose. Whether you forget a hat, you can pull it over the ears to keep the ears warm on the bike, or pull it down to cover your mouth and neck, just to keep that neck area warm on the ride. Moving on down, my favorite piece of gear that I have is a quality merino wool base layer. This is a long sleeve base layer. Again, when you wear these just for the winter on winter rides, they last a long time, so you're really getting your money's worth out of them. Wool base layers retain an enormous amount of heat even when they're soaking in sweat, so that's one of the key features that makes the wool base layer so great. And just if you haven't worked with a merino wool base layer, this is not your old school wool sweater that you got back in elementary school. They're not itchy. They're very, very comfortable to wear throughout a ride. Moving on down, we've got our bibs on then. So my number one recommendation for the legs is a good set of knee warmers. These are going to tuck in just underneath the waistband of your bib so they stay in place and covers your knee and the back side of your knee, providing the warmth there on the bike. Moving on down the bike, and this is one where there's several options. We have in stock shoe covers to pull on to keep your toes warm, because let me tell you, when your toes get cold on the bike, there's not much more miserable than your feet getting cold. So that, or like these ones I have here, these are actually a pair of winter cycling shoes, which I will say here in Lyon County in Kansas, sometime in the winter we get cold enough to really need them. Some years we don't need them. And that's really the hard part with layering in general here and doing this on video is, depending on what part of the country it matters greatly on what you're wearing. So I absolutely love these 45 North shoes. As you can tell, they've been through a Mid-South or two with some red mud still on them, but they keep my feet comfortable all day, and these have the bonus of being waterproof. So if there's any low water crossings or a little bit of spray, anything like that on the road, they keep my feet dry and warm. The final piece of gear I have is just a cycling coat. This is a super lightweight, specialized one. There's lots of them on the market. The best thing about this one is you start on a morning ride, say it's 25 degrees, 30 degrees out there. What you can do is crumple this down tight. They're made to collapse, and it goes right in my seat bag. So if I get to the halfway point, stop for a slice of Casey's Pizza or whatnot out there, I can take that off, shove it in the seat bag, and ride home. Then we need to talk about the hands. What do we do for the hands? There's lots of different options, whether it's the insulated gloves from Hand Up or Specialized Pearl Izumi out there. Lots of great options. Personally, for around here in our temperatures, my favorite though are just straight leather gloves. They might look like farm gloves because they absolutely are farm gloves, but they keep my hands toasty all day on the bike. They also give me the dexterity to be able to use and shift the bike or anything I might need to do along the lines with that. Any questions at all, come into Gravel City Adventure Supply Company at 716 Commercial in downtown Emporia, and we can help you out through the layering process.